There you are, let's go. Welcome back to the channel. And if you're new around here, I'm Jet Ski Chuck. I try to keep things a little bit cleaner over here, edit out all the curse words so we don't have all that type of negativity floating out in your living room. Before we get started, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Now let's dive in. Excellent footage from a UFO 2025. Let's take a closer look. Why was I getting Silver Surfer vibes? Like he's riding something. You got an entity riding a cloud. And it's just a whole bunch of stuff. They are moving in formation. These boys have a destination to be at. What are they and where are they going? Are the questions running through my mind.
Avatar was not only a movie, it was a story about how they destroyed one of the biggest trees that had belonged to this realm. And this is exactly why we see so many rocks that look like the tree stumps. It's because they actually were. Look at this one from 1899, and there are so many more that I can get you the picture of, but the point is that Avatar was not just a film, it was a story, and they throw it in our faces. And even in the Bible, Daniel, he talks about trees going up to the heavens, the firmament. If you really think these rocks were just rocks, you need to think again. Maybe this is another reason they don't allow us to explore the North Pole.
We truly were ants to the massive world that once was. But most of us ants never see this. When you build right on top of these tree stumps, or never get past the beauty of these falls in Idaho, and take a look at the bigger picture around you. The remains of this tree in Idaho still have the waters flowing out of it from when they burst open from the flood. Even easier yet to fool most of us ants when you tell us these are all just random ancient volcanic formations we build our houses on, or our lighthouses, or our farmlands. One of my favorite tree stumps in Yemen that you can just build a city around, and most of us ants will just be oblivious to what's right in front of their faces. But I'm starting to see a lot of people waking up when they realize these aren't just one or two examples. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of these ancient trees. You just have to open up your eyes and see. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
This is in Idaho? Right in our backyard. Look at you. You probably was like me thinking Devil Tower was the only one we can go see. No, they got one in Idaho with a waterfall going through it. I gotta see that. Yesterday's video, a couple people were kind of upset that there wasn't more information on the Terracotta Warrior segment. Well, lock in and buckle up, bucko. I got you today. Let's dive even deeper into that.
The famous tomb of the first emperor, it is also a pyramid. It has also not been excavated. The Terracotta Army was buried around its edges.
So the army was there to protect him?
Yeah, and then within the pyramid is a lake of mercury. There are mechanical devices in there which will fire arrows at you if you go in. There's a whole story about how intensely protected it is. And up to this day, it's not been excavated.
The rumor has it, with it being highly under military security, not only was there a river of mercury, there's a gemstone of the constellations in the ceiling inside the pyramid. The tomb of the emperor, he's holding a scroll. No one knows what's on the scroll that he is holding. Damn. What do you guys think's on the scroll?
Many of the Terracotta warriors are posed as if holding weapons, yet no weapons can be seen. Why is that? First, the shafts of the weapons held by the warriors were mostly made of wood or bamboo. After being buried underground for over 2,000 years, these wooden or bamboo parts have long since decayed, leaving only the bronze components. Once the shafts decayed, the metal parts, such as blades, lost their support and naturally fell into the surrounding soil. Second, Archaeologists discovered evidence of a looting tunnel in pit number 1 of the Terracotta Army site, and there are signs that some of the weapons were moved. Some believe that the army led by Xiang Yu may have looted the pits to seize weapons, taking away most of them and leaving behind only some bronze arrowheads, a few bronze swords, and some iron weapons. Third, even if we wanted to restore the weapons and place them back into the hands of the warriors today, it would be very difficult. The long handles make them inconvenient to display and pose safety risks.
Am I tripping, or does he kind of look like Martin Luther King?
China's first emperor planned something so horrific that his own advisor had to talk him out of it. Emperor Qin Shi Huang built the largest mausoleum in Chinese history, 22 square miles over 38 years, mobilizing 700,000 workers. He literally rebuilt his entire empire for the afterlife. You may have heard of the famous terracotta warriors, but did you know each one of these statues is distinctly unique, modeled after real soldiers? But here's the part that gave me the chills. Legend has it that the terracotta warriors were actually Plan B. According to this legend, the emperor wanted to bury thousands of living boys and girls with him, but his advisor convinced him to use terracotta soldiers instead out of fear of civil revolt. But human sacrifice still happened anyways. Archaeological evidence shows the tomb is filled with remains of the workers, supervisors, and servants, buried alive alongside the very statues they created. You can see them at the Bowers Museum until October 19th.
Damn, he was low-key a menace, wasn't he? I used to play Dynasty Warriors back in the day. I'm sure he was one of the bad guys.
A tourist in China has shocked onlookers after he damaged 2 ancient terracotta warriors at the famed Xi'an Museum. The incident took place in a pit that's part of the world-renowned site, built in 209 BC, to guard the tomb of China's first emperor. According to officials, the man, believed to be mentally ill, jumped over fence and netting before pushing and pulling the figures, resulting in damage that could take up to 10 years to repair. With over 8,000 statues, the Terracotta Army has been a major drawcard for global tourists, and a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1987.
Damn, bucko, did you have beef with one of the statues? He said, this one's for my ancestors. All right, we have some early excavations. They're starting to dig them out. I want to know when they're going to hit that Emperor throne room. And what about this mercury? They don't like to talk about that part, do they? Uh-oh, looks like we got another view of your boy.
就左边有2个，他抱着一个给推倒一个，2个直接给有毛病啊！他故意跳下去的，后来他跳下去，先抱了那个，把那个推倒，一下把那个他推倒了，把那个推倒，2个推倒了，一下都坏了。就左边有2个，他抱着一个给。
She wasn't feeling that. Context, do not reenact, recreate, or do anything seen on this video. This is just for entertainment purposes only.
Today, we know that mercury is one of the world's most toxic chemicals, but the ancient Chinese, they considered it to be the elixir of life. In fact, Emperor Qin, in his quest to live forever, mercury pills regularly. Not only did this not help him live forever, it very likely contributed to his death at the age of 50. The emperor's belief in mercury may also mean his unexplored tomb is surrounded by rivers of the metal. Chinese historian Sima Chen even claimed that 100 flowing rivers were created in the tomb and filled with mercury. While his account makes no mention of the terracotta soldiers, there's good reason to believe him on this one. Analysis of the soil in the vicinity of the tomb has shown extremely high levels of mercury. Even though the Terracotta Army was discovered over 40 years ago, only about 1% of the emperor's tomb has been excavated. At first, archaeologists worried an excavation would damage the emperor's corpse and artifacts in the tomb. But the biggest concern today is safety. The rumored rivers of mercury have left archaeologists struggling to find the safest way to excavate the tomb, if they can at all. The terracotta forces of Emperor Qin, the warriors, horses, chariots, and even the emperor's tomb itself, are spread out over a compound that is over 20 square miles in size. One pit, roughly the size of an airplane hangar, contains the soldiers, a second contains the cavalry and infantry units, and a third holds high-ranking officers and chariots to represent the command center. And if all that doesn't impress you, keep in mind that there was originally supposed to be even more. The tomb is believed to be incomplete, largely due to the discovery of a fourth, empty pit that wasn't finished even after the emperor died. Between 2009 and 2019, Chinese archaeologist Shen Maosheng headed a new excavation of the emperor's mausoleum, and in January of 2020, the Chinese information site XinhuaNet announced that Shen's team had uncovered 200 more clay soldiers. According to Shen, most of the newly discovered sculptures are either holding pole weapons, bending their right arms with half-clenched fists, or carrying bows with their right arms hanging naturally, indicating each soldier's own task within the army. The new excavation is about 750 feet long, 200 feet wide, and 16 feet deep, and in total there are more than 6,000 clay soldiers and horses. The carved armor on each of the newly discovered soldiers seems to indicate their rank. According to the archaeologists, the new excavation greatly expanded their study on the military service system and military equipment of the Qin dynasty. It also provided new ideas for the research on the artistic style, characteristics, and manufacturing techniques of figurines in the period.
But it sounds like to me they haven't even got near the emperor's throne room. They know where it's at, but they haven't started digging yet. Maybe they should hit it with some LiDAR.
Archaeologists keep finding rivers of mercury beneath ancient pyramids in different continents stretched all over the world. In the mausoleum of the first emperor of China, there is a tiny replication of all the lands he conquered, along with a river of mercury. A river of mercury was also found underneath the pyramid of Teotihuacan in Mexico. What was the purpose of this mercury?
Quan Chi was on one, wasn't he?
This is a representation of China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huangdi, and he tried to extend his life. It wasn't enough that he was the first emperor of China. He thought himself a god, and he sent his acolytes all across the world to find herbs and various substances to keep him alive. And he tried one of the first homeopathic things that probably cost him his life. So he probably died of mercury poisoning because he was mercury in the hopes that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And he's the one that had the clay army buried with him to protect him in the afterlife. But of course it didn't protect him in this life. So here's his little buddy bringing him some mercury. He would be the first one to get in line for Dr. Fauci and Bill Gates' So much like that, you're...
Have you heard of the Terracotta Army?
Yeah.
In China?
Yeah.
Dude, that is crazy.
I wanted to talk about that a long time ago.
Dude,
because
it's nuts.
It was when Alex was on and he mentioned something with mercury.
Yeah.
At Army, what did you call him?
Terracotta.
Terracotta, like the pot.
Yep.
The tomb in which that king is that they're guarding.
Yeah.
They haven't opened it yet because it's written down that his throne or his tomb or whatever is surrounded by a giant lake of mercury.
So it's protected.
It's like protected, and like they're like afraid to like unseal it because of the exposure of it.
I don't know anything about the guy that was buried, but that is a crazy, because it's over 8,000 statues.
Crazy.
Yeah.
130 chariots with 520 horses.
It's nuts.
And it's literally all handmade, and they're signed by the person who designed them. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like it's just a burial site. That's all it is.
Yeah, who is this guy?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do more research into it. But
Isn't that kind of sad that we don't know his name?
Yeah.
And he put all this effort into
or they did it for him. Like as a tribute or honor. I don't know. It's crazy.
Like what I saw, they wrote down that his resting place, he wanted to make it look like his house was like overlooking the ocean. But yeah, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think they got some type of mercury rectifiers under there and they trying to turn these boys back alive. That's what I'm starting to think after that alchemy episode yesterday.
An ancient weapon, estimated to be 2,300 years old, was discovered in a tomb among the ruins of Qinyang, in central China. When the sword was drawn from its scabbard, researchers were astonished to find that it had not rusted despite the passage of time. It remained sharp, shiny, and nearly in perfect condition thanks to a layer of oil inside the scabbard that helped preserve the blade. In ancient China, metal swords were cast as a single piece rather than forged, a technique that gave them exceptional strength and durability. An ancient weapon, estimated to
That boy was ready for war 2,000 years later. I know they put a lot of work in their Japanese stores too. Your time. He must have not enjoyed that book. If you thought I didn't have an excellent specimen for you today, think again. Feast your eyes on this specimen. Wow. This a yellow calcite cluster has a red and orange inside. Some calcites have colored chalcopyrite on the surface. A calcite with very bright color. I'm getting like safety cone, candy corn vibes that's protruding out of it. Almost looks like a dragon scales as well. Very interesting piece. If I had to name this piece, I would call this Hidden Flame Dragon.
Terracotta warriors made using living humans? The truth about this Chinese marvel emerged when one of the terracotta warriors cracked open. These warriors, considered the eighth wonder of the world, have puzzled researchers for ages. Many questions surrounding them have remained controversial. For instance, who were they guarding? How were they made? When it comes to these figures resembling real humans, the burning question arises, were they crafted using living humans? To address this issue, we need to delve into the history of China during the time of Emperor Qin Shi Huang and the prevalent practices. Historical records reveal that ancient China had a tradition of human sacrifice, especially of females, in the context of a slave society, where slaves were considered the private property of landowners. It was customary for slaves to accompany their masters in death. Due to the emperor's notorious actions, such as burning books and mistreating his subjects, he earned a reputation as a brutal ruler, ultimately leading to the downfall of the Qin dynasty. Given this historical context, it's not unreasonable to speculate that living humans might have been used in crafting the terracotta warriors. However, does this speculation hold true? To definitively answer whether terracotta warriors were made using living humans, one would need to open a statue, potentially damaging this precious artifact. Understandably, this approach has not been pursued. Thus, the question remained unanswered until one day, the terracotta warriors revealed the truth themselves. During routine maintenance, workers noticed significant damage to one of the statues, with a substantial portion of its shoulder and chest collapsed. Archaeologists seized this opportunity to examine the statue's interior. What they discovered was that there was no human tissue or remains inside, dispelling the notion that these figures were crafted from living humans. Currently, only a fraction of Emperor Qin Shi Huang's tomb has been excavated, while the secrets of his burial site remain largely hidden. I believe that, in time, all the mysteries surrounding Qin Shi Huang will be unveiled.
I wonder if he was a Dynasty Warriors character. Is Quan Shi is that his name? Quan Shi, a Dynasty Warriors character. No. I knew he was giving me more cow vibes.
Here we see that large parts of the rock have been extracted, leaving a remarkably smooth surface and, strangely, large knobs like those found on the granite stones. The material was removed with such precision that we hardly find scratches. Considering the rock is made of andesite, an extremely strong and hard material, the work we see is incredible. Additional knobs can be seen in higher sections of the rock, also accompanied by smooth and precise cuts. Next to these knobs are also cavities carved into the wall. This incredible megalith weighs 800 tons and is carved from a single piece of granite. Strangely, it doesn't resemble any other architecture in Japan. Many believe it is some kind of representation of the celestial vesicles of the gods, but to this day, no one knows who carved or placed it there. On the other three sides, trellis-shaped chisel marks can be seen close to the ground. Because granite is known to be difficult to carve, even with modern tools, this sculpture fascinates specialists and scientists who consider it a technical wonder.
That's all we have for today's video. If you made it this far, the code word is Monday Blade. Drop Monday Blade in the comments below. When you drop that, it lets me know you're a real one. You made it all the way through the video, and I just want to say thank you. Be sure to head over to Jet Ski Chuck later around 9-10 p.m. Eastern, where I'm going to do a longer video or possibly go live. I'm not sure yet. But this was the most disturbing videos on the internet today. See you later.